Welcome back to 15 Lessons in 15 Weeks. This is week 14, which means next week is week 15, and this challenge will be complete. I will be 30 years old next week. Confetti, candles, all the hoorah. No, I'm kidding. I don't like to make a big deal about my birthday, but this challenge has been what I wanted to do leading up to turning 30, and I'm so glad that I've done it. So thank you again for following along, and it's been an honor to do this. It's been a blessing to have these, and I hope, again, it has encouraged you. This week is obviously from when I turned 28 years old, and 28 was a very full year. A quick overview of 28. I started 28 years old. We were in London. We then went out to the Middle East for a little bit. We then moved to Texas for a short time to kind of volunteer and intern at the church where my parents were on staff at. And in that time, Josh and I became aunt and uncle because my sister and brother-in-law had a beautiful baby girl. And then we finished out that time in Texas, and then we came back to London and, kind of started a trajectory to where we are now. But it was a full year, like just full on. There was a lot going on, and it was something that I'm so glad we have phones with pictures on, because I get to go back and look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that happened in that year. And when I was thinking about the lesson to kind of, bring to this video today, I reverted back to Instagram. I think it was in last week's video or the video before that, I talked about how, I put out an Instagram post on my birthday, and it just kind of sums up the year. And so I was like, what did I write, on my 29th birthday after having done 28 years around the sun, as they say. And so I'm going to read that and then I'll get to the lesson. So basically, this is what I wrote. Yesterday, we walked into a cathedral that has been a place of worship for 1700 years. Josh took me to this little cathedral, and it was just a really sweet day out that we got to just have the two of us. So in context, that's what I'm talking about. As we read through the history that this building had endured, the one thing that never changed was the fact that its doors remained open for people to come worship the Lord at all times. We read about times of ease and celebration, and then we read about times of sadness and despair, and I stood in awe at the fact that for 1700 years, people have been praying and worshiping in this very place. As I cross into another year of having breath in my lungs and purpose in every day, I couldn't help but hope that my life would resemble this cathedral. No matter what season and no matter how many years, I want to always be a place where prayers and worship arise. I want to stand as a living testimony of God's faithfulness and His beauty, whether on the mountaintop or the valley. In my 29 years, I've had the privilege of encountering so much of God's beauty in so many ways, and I only hope and dream that as I keep giving Him my yes, that He will continue to reveal Himself in magnificent and glorious ways. And I really was thinking about this, and I was like, you know what? The lesson I learned as, a 28-year-old crossing into my 29th year was that I was created to worship. And whether on a day that's a mountaintop day or a day that's a valley day, nothing could take that truth away. And some days are hard. Some days are good and easy and everything is going right. But no matter what day, and I think I've said this in a couple of other of the lessons that, I've put out of the last 15 weeks, no matter what day or season or time you're in, the truth remains that God is good, that He is faithful, and my truth that I get to stand on is that I was created to worship Him, and nothing can take that away. And on the hard days, sometimes I need this revelation. Sometimes I need to be reminded that I was created to worship him, that I was created to stand as a testimony of his faithfulness. And so this kind of fresh revelation, this reminder of sorts of the season that you're in doesn't have to determine the praise and the prayers that come out of your mouth. You know, sometimes that praise is going to be from a place of grief. Sometimes those prayers are going to be from a place of confusion. But no matter what, you're still offering this kind of sacrifice of worship, this sacrifice of prayer unto the Lord. And ultimately, nothing can take that away from you. And there's so many verses in the Bible, obviously, that talk about worshiping the Lord. In Psalms 100, this is just one of so many. It says, "Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us. We are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless him, for the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations." And that's just it. To all generations. You know, this cathedral that I talked about for 1700 years, this had been a place of worship and prayer. And they had gone through fire. They had gone through war. They had gone through, like, this place has some history. But no matter what the day was, no matter what the season it was in, it was always a place of worship. And that is what I want my life to be. That is what I aspire to do. And some days I'm good at it and some days I'm not good at it, but I always want to be an open place of worship and prayer, and I need to be reminded a lot of the time. And so I hope that maybe this comes at a good time for you to be reminded of your life being a place of worship and prayer. And I hope that it challenges you to just remember who God is, remember what he's done for you, and to open your heart up and open your mind up to receive that, and then to be this kind of overflowing place of worship unto him, so that people around you can see and participate and, you know, be encouraged as well. And so that was the lesson of 28, that I was created to worship. You were created to worship. And whether a mountaintop day or a valley day, nothing can take that away from you. So may that challenge you and encourage you once again. Thank you for joining me for week 14. I will see you next week as I wrap up this challenge as a 30-year-old and fully kind of bring this around full circle. So thanks again for joining me. I will see you then. Bye.